Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Back at you with Gloves Off. I'm Paul Buitron here, and I have a great guest, Maxine Rebeles, and we're going to be talking about why she's running for City Council District 1. And number one, it's good to meet you.
It's nice meeting you.
And and we've talked before, and we've had a good conversation. But let's, it's a race. It's a campaign. It's a race. What got you to run?
I am not a political person at all. I was not into politics. I just got started when Jessica Cisneros ran. That was the first time I ever tried to help out with the campaign or voted in my life. Like, growing up, we would hear things like, todos son corruptos, todos son iguales. Like, so it was like, when I graduated and joined the military, you get a mindset of like, you do what you're told. You don't ask questions, like it's not your job to figure stuff out. You just do what you're told. You keep your head down, don't make waves, just keep going. And when I got out of the military, I came back to Laredo, and I was just supposed to stay for the summer to regroup and move back to Fort Worth, but my twin brother was murdered. So a lot of stuff came out with that. I saw that the corruption in Laredo is still prevalent. I became a teacher to try and break some of those cycles with the kids, to try and give them an outlet, I started the WOWI crew, which is We Are Worth It, the We Are Worth It crew. One of the principals, when she came in, she did away with that club because she said there was other clubs and counselors that these kids could talk to. But we actually won like a tree for the school and stuff, so that kind of sparked like I could make a little difference. It's not like this huge difference that's gonna change these kids' lives, but it's something small that like we got a tree. Like every time we passed through Kristen, that we did that, we planted that for them, like we won that. The second year I had the club, we did it again and we won again, but then we had to disband that club, so I created the environmental club. That's how I met Trisha Cortez, who introduced me to this world of the environment that most people don't talk about. And that's when I started seeing like our water is something that people don't really push to protect, and we needed to do something. But everyone sees the problem, but no one talks about fixing it, So that kind of like just threw me into like the world of, okay, why is this wrong? Why aren't people looking at this? Why aren't people changing this? So I started following like different people, listening to what they had to say, and I got tired of being tired. So I don't want to wait for someone to see the issues that we've been living with this whole time that they don't think are concerns,
I get you. Well, number one, thank you for your service for this great country. And it's the best country in the world. And I want to thank you and everybody else that have gone there and served. I did not have the ability to do so. I was in school and I wanted to drop out and go to war. It was a Gulf War, and my professor said, don't be stupid. You got 3 more months to go. The war's still going to be there. By the time I got out, the war had been finished. But I come from a very patriot. My grandfather fought in World War I. He didn't have any sons in World War II, so he sent his daughter as a WAC. She was the first woman to serve in any military capacity of Laredo. Her name was Marietta Buitron. A Godkeeper, and she's resting in Fort Sam Houston. But other than that, I see why people are coming. And the problem that we have with what's going on in the border right now. I understand that, and we have our young men and women like yourself going out there to defend our liberties in our country. Not only ours, our liberties in the countries of others around the world. Do you know what I'm saying? And we go out there, and you all do it with your heart and with your soul and with your mind and your body, and that's to be applied in those accomplishments always. So number one, thank you. I too am sort of a conservationist if you come into the environment. Even though, as you see all the heads here, I'm a hunter by trade. It's something that I brought up. I'm Texan. Soy Tejano. I grew up with that. But we just don't go out there just to shoot for fun. We go out there to experience what nature is. And if it wasn't for hunting, we wouldn't have white-tailed deer right now, because by 1940s there was only about 150,000. I think there's more than 150,000 in Webb County alone. So because of because of the hunters, and there's a difference between going out there and people say, you guys are out there going to go kill. No, we're going out there to hunt for provide.
Yeah.
And I think we have to understand that. And as a chef, I love to cook all types of cuisine. So to me, that's my back alley, right?
Yeah.
But thank you for also starting those programs. Sometimes people are so ingrained that they don't want to see something new come in that's going to benefit everything. And when people talk about our youth, we have to protect them in all angles that we have.
Mm-hmm.
We'll also get tormented and set astray and changed and lost. And right now we're in a very, very peculiar moment, not only in America, here in Laredo, where what do we want? So that leads me to my next question. Maxine, what does Maxine have? You know what? This is what I bring to the table to change Laredo.
I've been helping out different organizations. Like, Laredo seems to have like a set mindset. Like, it's always a zoomed in picture instead of like, okay, it's not just Laredo though. Like, how can we learn from other cities, or what are other cities doing that can help us? The conservation of the river is a huge one, and I know a lot of people are saying like it's a cartel park and all this stuff, but like for the people in it, like with all the people or all the powerful families we have here, you would think one of them would have wanted to conserve our water, protect our water, restore our water, because like it's something like 18 years or something like that, we're not going to have any more water. The Chichimeca, like 14 years ago, we're at City Council with the potable water source, and Council didn't pay attention to them. Like, it's going to take a while, like a couple of phases to get the restoration done, but we need it. Like, we need the infrastructure for Laredo, but we've been calling for that. Like when the border wall was coming, or it was a threat, and we didn't want the border wall, there were people on Facebook that would say, like, literally saying, like, well, I understand the river's important, but if it goes, it goes. Like, we need to be protected. Like, not even realizing what they were saying, because the river's our only source of water. Like, that's what people need to understand,
Sure.
Like, and these powerful families, if they would help invest instead of making house after house after house after house on the south side. Like, I understand people want their houses to raise in value, but raising in value is going to raise our taxes. Like, we should, with new houses on the south side, you would think we could drink the water coming out of our faucet, but we still can't. Why? Like, and if they're $200,000 houses, like, at a minimum, we should be able to drink the water coming out of our faucets.
No, I get you, and I'm all for that, but I'd rather spend $200 million in restoring our infrastructure with our pipes, with good water source, with a good secondary source, with good streets, with good element within our society to pick it up and then to put it into a park. I think we have enough parks as it is. Now, when has Mexico ever helped us? That's a question that I want to have. The river is very important, but we keep doing our part, Mexico doesn't. And then you tell Mexico and they say, well, screw you. So you know what I'm saying? So we have problem with our immigration and everything else is because Mexico's controlled. If you talk about corruption,
right, but
right across our, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
This project, in my eyes, is gonna shine the light on that. Like, right now,
shine the light on what?
What Mexico needs to do. Like, Mexico has already said they would invest, like, I think it's like $72 million, because they are still dumping raw sewage into our river. When we were trying to raised that alarm, right? And no one was saying anything about it. Like, this is gonna show, like, no one, like, there's 6 million people that use the river. How many of them are trying to conserve it?
Let me tell you one thing, what needs to happen. And I'm for the security of our nation, number one. For the security of you, your kids, my kids, the women's here in this thing. Right now, we've allowed this dismantled immigration policies that we have, because that's what it is. It's been kicking that can down the street for a very long time. I don't blame the presidents. I blame the Congress and the Senate for not never doing anything for the past 30 years. Mm-hmm. Okay? And now we have a problem. So that means our 17-year-old kids that have a driver's license are being used as coyotes and getting in trouble. That's a great job. I really want manufacturing jobs so we can get them to do something else better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and you see them left and right, and we have a problem. But you know how we can fix that problem? And it wasn't really the wall. Let's start releasing the water from Amsterdam. Let's bring the river back to what the river should be like, with a flowing river, not this charco that we have in there. You know, and I'm going to tell you something here that I heard from a very reliable source about a bridge. But and once that flowing water gets up and we raise it up higher, because that's really in Amsterdam, and also the dams that they have, and the one dam that they built in Mexico that wasn't supposed to be built, and they said, screw you, United States, anyway, we're going to do whatever we want because we're Mexico. You're like, enough's enough. Let's make the river flow. Have you been down to Brownsville?
Yeah.
The Boca Chica doesn't even connect anymore. I grew up in Boca Chica.
Yeah.
We used to fish in Boca Chica.
But even then, like, look at what's happening with Elon Musk in Boca Chica. Like, see,
You know?
and people aren't raising the alarm with that either. Like,
What's going on with Elon Musk?
he's ruining he's profiting off of those people, like, and destroying the environment. When those rockets go off, all the pollution that goes out, like, nobody's talking about that stuff. Like, what they're doing to the environment is horrible. It's horrible. But if we, like, just put a Band-Aid over, like, getting water into our river, not actually restoring it and, like, conserving it, like, it's gonna run out.
Flowing it, because it's not being conserved, not being even used. Amsterdam's not even being used to its capacity. Let the river flow on all sides. Let's move it. I guarantee you we won't have the immigration that we have here. They won't be walking and running across the river.
But,
You understand what I'm saying? But
but that's
so
still just putting a Band-Aid over it. You're not solving, like, because,
The-
like, what about the 13-year-olds in El Salvador who get arrested for, like, having ties to the cartel when they have no choice but to join the cartel? Like, you know, there's so much gray that people aren't talking about.
let me tell you one thing. And I know what you mean, and and you're coming in there because you mean well, okay. But we're in a position right now that we have to take care of the United States. We have to take care of Laredo. I could care less what happens in El Salvador. In all honesty, I could care less what happens in Mexico.
So
Understand what I'm saying?
But that-
It's Laredo, Texas that
But
we
that-
have to see because nobody else is helping us.
okay, but, like, if you want to talk about Laredo, like, look at the corruption in Laredo.
Okay, show me
like,
the corruption. Tell me
we
where.
had a constable that started
Sure.
a whole prostitution ring. Like, you know, that is something huge. Like, he couldn't have been the only one that knew about his prostitution ring. Like, it's not a prostitution ring without a whole bunch of other people knowing about it. Like,
Absolutely.
so how can we say all those people are just bad and they shouldn't come, but all these cops, like, oh, it was just one cop? Like,
No, I'm
you
listen.
know,
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. We need to change our law enforcement. We need to cull. You know what culling means?
to kill or to
No,
get rid of.
not mean to kill, just to get rid of. You have to get rid of. If I have to cull a herd, then I have to get rid of the older cattle, make them beef, and so on and so forth, or what have you. That's just part of the thing. And so we have to cull our police departments, and we're not doing that. We have bad apples that have grievances after grievances, and all of a sudden I'm just going to use examples. They start out in the Laredo Police Department. They have so many complaints. Oh, poof, all of a sudden he's in the school district police. A couple of more complaints over here, he's in the sheriff's. More complaints over here, he's in the county attorney's. Oh, he's in the district attorney's. He's back over here in LISD police. And you're like, that guy has been around all these different places, and he's just a bad peace officer. Remove his badge. You know, people don't talk about that. And I don't teach police officers here. I'm going to tell you why I don't teach police officers here. And I have way too many students of mine that have become law enforcement afterward. We counted the other day 36, okay, since 2000 to 2010 when I stopped teaching. Why? Because I used to teach in the morning from 11 to 1 o'clock, Tuesdays and Thursdays. The majority that were training here were police officers. They came in one day, they were all laughing. They were talking about a technique that I showed them, that it works. Oh, so-and-so, I'm not going to use names, so-and-so did a technique on this perp and blah, 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 the way they talk. And I go, really, what happened? Oh, no, he has to tell you about it. So he comes in there walking. I go, hey, they just told me. He goes, oh, he was handcuffed. Handcuffed? And I sat everybody down and go, I'm not here to teach you to beat up people that are handcuffed. See that door right there? You all get out. Don't come back. That's a sacrifice I did because they were paying money for me to teach them. But I made the decision, I'm not going to teach police officers to go out there and beat up people that are handcuffed. Yeah. We don't need that. So we as citizens, we have to start working in our own little niche. And I see them training jiu-jitsu here and kickboxing here. Good. Somebody else deal with it, not I. Understand what I'm saying? So I took that initiative, and I understand not all police officers are bad, because we have some very damn good police officers out there in the force, and we have some excellent first responders. But we have to understand what the dangers are. If you have one bad element, remove it. I'm of that thing. You have one bad apple, ruins a barrel. Yeah. But it's not the other way around. You have one good apple and you put it in the rotten barrel, it's not going to make them all good. Doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's
and especially
in every
if the good cops are not calling out the bad cops, like, you know, it's never going to get any better.
So with that being said, let's talk about the issues right now facing that. Once the water. Besides the water, we have the immigration problem that's here, that it's affecting Laredo. And it's not because we're hate immigrants, no. Let's do it legally. We have to do something now, and Congress and Senate have to sit down and figure out the immigration problem, what's going on, and how we can get these people, if they really want to come in here to work. Because we have to vet the criminal elements in here. There's a lot of criminal elements coming in. Like you said, prostitution, everything else. They got to one of our peace officers, and an elected peace officer at that. You know what I'm saying? So they've already got to him. The underworld got to him some way or another. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's greed, whether it's not, they got him. So we need to take care of that. We need to, and I'm not only saying police officers, it's just like what happened with, 46, now it's 52 that died in the truck over there. It passed 2 checkpoints. They didn't check them. They didn't see them. Nobody's talking about that. Yeah. Okay, look at this embarrassment of law enforcement that occurred in Uvalde. I mean, if that's a mirror of what Texas is, we're in bad shape.
Yeah, but if he got his training from Laredo, like, even that was...
Well, he didn't get his training from Laredo. He was just here in Laredo.
But why did he get sent over there?
You know, well...
It's just that same...
But he did. He was already a police officer when he came in. I get you. I get you. No. The biggest, the biggest cowardice act, I guess, in the 20th century is that one right there.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. I know that you'll fight because you already signed the line to fight for our country.
And but as teachers, that mentality, like, even when we set up at the beginning of the year, like, I make sure that, like, my cabinets are by the door in case anything pops off. Like, we got the cabinet, we can put it there. We can push my desk next to the door. Like, you know, at the beginning of the year, like, I make sure my kids are good, and they know, like, I'm gonna protect them. If I tell you to sit down, like, sit down and be quiet, because sometimes you got those kids with the drills, and they're laughing, like, dude, like, no, you're putting my life at risk, you know, like, and they don't take it seriously, they don't see it, but, like, teachers, like, even if they didn't serve in I know they would, like, those teachers gave their lives for their kids, you know, like, it's just, it's crazy.
And with all due respect, you know, our sentiments and our condolences to the families. I mean, our hearts go out with you all. Our sentiment and condolences to everybody that loses their life trying to coming to America for a betterment, mm-hmm. and being abused and so on and so forth. Our heart goes out with that, and we understand why you're doing it. But we also need our neighbor that's on the bottom, you know, that nice neighbor that everybody paints them to be, to stand up and say, enough's enough, we're also going to do our part, which they never did.
Yeah.
They're actually encouraging it left and right. So it's something like, what do we do? You know, really?
Yeah, and it's hard, like, with the laws and policies in place, like, some of these people, like, to cross over the legal way, have to wait 30 years. You know, some of them, this is the only home that they've known, but once, like, their work visa or something, then they have to go back to Mexico. You know what I mean? Like, and then deal with that stuff while people here, like, they've been working, they've been making a living. So what's the danger? Why send them back? Why give them 10 years banishment or whatever you want to call it? You know, like, there's a lot of stuff that they can do. And some of these people, like, you're telling me it takes 5 years to vet a grandma and her kid. Like, you know, some of them, like, there should be faster ways to do this, to vet people. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's a mess. It's a mess.
No, I'm with you. Now, what else would you like to see? What else is wrong that you would like to change here in Laredo? That you see? I mean, the corruption's there. But what are we going to deal with it in corruption? We need proof. Everybody always talks about corruption. You look in social media, everybody's corrupt. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of them that are complacent and turn their other cheek. They want to be the good Christian, turn the other cheek. Let's not see what that's going on. Let's see, okay, we're going to look over here. But, you know, there's malfeasance and nonfeasance. Nonfeasance is they know something's wrong and they haven't done anything about it.
And it's just, it's hard to know. Because, like, me personally, like, I don't put anything over my morality. Not my party, not my family, not anybody. Like, when I was working as a teacher aide in Heights, my son was there with me, and my son was just acting amok. Like, he was not listening or anything, and, like, these little kids were like, "Ma'am, dale un referral." So I looked at the kids and I was like, "You're absolutely right." And I gave my son a referral, and the vice principal was like, "You gave your son a referral?" I was like, "Heck yeah, I gave him." Like, he's not listening. He's running amok. Like, you can talk to his father about that. Like, and you know what I mean? Because at what point, like, if I didn't give him a referral, like, that's just one step into allowing him to do something that is not okay. Like, and people do that little by little. Oh, this person's a good person, so, like, just forgive him. Or this person was a good person, so let me help him out. Like, this person was a good person, so let me take that ticket away. Like, whatever they're doing, you know, that's one step in that corrupt direction. You know what I mean? So it depends on the person, what they're willing to risk and what their morals are. Like, a lot of these people put their party over their morality. Like, a lot of them are like, Obama was the best president. Like, Obama didn't fix Flint, Michigan's water. Like, he left them hanging, and no one talks about that. Like,
and he didn't fix the immigration problem. And when they only had them in power, not only that, also our Congress and everybody was in power, and they still didn't fix it. You know what I'm saying? So for them to come over and
we need to start with ourselves and see what is really wrong, like, what's wrong with, like, for my family, the biggest issue that they've been dealing with, and I know it's not just my family, is healthcare. Like, there's no specialty doctors here. Both my sisters have autoimmune diseases. My little sister, because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her here, they didn't send her out in town. They put her on 20 milligrams of steroids for 2 years, so she lost the use of her legs. You know, like, then she tries to get help and she doesn't qualify for anything. My oldest sister, she has scleroderma. The doctors here don't really know about scleroderma, so she went from weighing close to 90 pounds to, like, close to 75 right now, I think. You know, and there's a lot of help that we need. But once again, like some of these doctors screw over the patients, screw over insurance, they just slap on the wrist. You know what I mean? When we need better health care, like we need people that understand what our people are going through. And some of these high up families don't understand because they don't have to deal with it. You know, like as one of the only able-bodied people in my family, like I understand the impacts of other people going through this. You know, like my niece had to help my sister for the longest time because she couldn't use her legs. You know, her little daughter doesn't understand why she can't walk, you know, because when she was born, that's all she knew of her mother. You know, like families are going through a lot of stuff, but what is there to help them? You know, like if even they had like something like a sheet of paper that they could call people to help or to get different doctors that knew stuff, but that there's no help like that here in Laredo.
You know, and I came up, you know, my father's a physician. My father's an otolaryngologist. He just retired this year. And the biggest sadness that I saw over this pandemic was 175 doctors were demanding to close small businesses. Demanding to close small businesses because they themselves couldn't do their elective or selective procedures at the hospitals because so many people were dying of COVID, but it was only just one hospital because the other hospital was fine, and it was a doctors of just one hospital. To me, that was the largest demonstration of greed that I saw Laredo ever have. My respect for doctors during COVID has gone to zero. I have never seen anybody with the problems that your family has faced say, the hell with the doctors from Laredo, we're gonna go San Antonio, Dallas, elsewhere. We've been with the doctors here. I have never seen any small business say, you know what, I'm gonna take my kids and my wife wants those new plastic surgery, I'm gonna take her elsewhere, they're gonna use the doctors here. But yet I saw that demonstration of greed that occurred with them, and it was, to me, people might like it what I say, and people might say what it is, but that's basically what it was. It's a huge demonstration of greed. And you're like, really, people? So you're gonna go after somebody that's probably already in depression because he's losing his dreams, he's losing just because you guys can't hack it?
Yeah.
But you guys are the ones calling now control, and I'm glad the city council that didn't pass through, you know, because these doctors are there. But again, I know the majority of them. I don't think highly of a lot of them. They may not think highly of me. Who am I? I don't want to judge them or anything. But after they did that, I took that kind of personal.
Yeah.
And you don't want destruction of anybody just because I want to get ahead. And that to me has always gone wrong in my mind. You know what I mean? So I get you. So here's my next question, and I'm going to ask you this. You're a single mom. Do you allow the father of your children to see them?
Whenever they want. Like right now, my son's in Florida. There's 2 different fathers. The other one's in Australia. So my daughter will be leaving, I think, in November to go see him in Australia. Mm-hmm.
Good. You know, because here we have a problem here in Texas. There's something called interference with child custody. There's a lot of separations or parents that didn't get married. And there's always a custodial parent that doesn't want to allow their kids to see the yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's called parental alienation, and it has never been enforced. And we tried to pass a resolution, which we passed a resolution here. I was very proud of council when they did that. That it's a state jail's felony. It's Penal Code 2503, and it's just basically if you don't allow it, they're supposed to pick them up. But the police here have never enforced it. They come out and basically say that it's a civil matter, or say that it's not a crime. What do you feel about that?
But like when they say it's a civil matter, don't you have the paperwork showing that there's like a court order?
Yeah.
So
They'll
they
still
should,
say.
yeah, but
They'll
with
still
that
say,
they should enforce it.
right?
Like,
But they should enforce the decree, correct?
yeah.
But then they'll turn around and say that's a civil matter, Or they'll turn around and say, oh, yeah, we know it's a crime, but the district attorney won't enforce it.
Yeah, see, so then they're not doing their job, but, like, because even...
What's affected is a child.
Yeah, and that's what they don't see. Like, because as a single mom, I've been on the opposite. You know what I mean? Like, well, my daughter's father went to Australia, so he didn't really see her, you know, but my son's father was like, I want to be in his life, you know, I want to see him, and so it was no problem with him. But some men that I have talked to, like, do feel that way, like Laredo might be leaning more towards women or whatever the case is, but if the father is a good father, if he's not abusing the child, if he's not doing drugs in front of the child or has anything like that in front of then he should not be denied the right to see the child. And if he has a court order, it should be enforced. And if they're straight telling you that they're not going to enforce it, like, I'm sure he's just a good cop. You know, like, it's just, what do you do? Like, who do you tell? I could just imagine the frustration. Like,
sure, no, we've told everybody, and that's why they passed since it is a still jail felony up to 1 year, and so they've passed a resolution giving a 3 citation. The third one goes there, and we try to pass it in as a bill with State Representative Richard Raymond, which been a banner, and this has been a standard fighting for this. You know, it's not about sending anybody to jail. It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about follow the court order.
See, but even then, like, you're still giving them 3 times. Like, as a mother, if the father was doing that, how would I feel? You know, I needed to go through this 3 times. And it happened to moms as well. Yeah, like, it's just, no. It should be enforced.
It should be enforced. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What else would you like to see change here in Laredo?
More help for our elderly. Our elders are kind of always left behind, like once again, because I help my mom with, like, all her bills, or, like, I look at her bills, I help her, like, you know, she's always worried about, like, her taxes and stuff like that, even though they've lived there for, like, ever, since, like, 82, before we got here. Like, she still worries about that stuff. Like, for her to go to the doctor, it's like 172 or 175. Like, you know, they've worked in Laredo all of their lives. Like, and they worked whatever job they could get. But now that they need a little help, there's no help for them. There's no relief for them. You know what I mean? And it's like my mom fortunately has us kids that can help her, but other elders that don't have that, like, what, we're just supposed to be okay with them dying alone somewhere. Like, you know, we just, for everything that our elders have done for us, we don't respect them, we don't care for them, we just kind of let them die off somewhere, you know. And that's something I want to bring to light and to change also. Sure.
Would you like to have our youth have a different direction, for them not to be led astray and for them not to commit crimes, with especially some of the crimes?
Yeah, and, like, learning from the indigenous, like the Lakota tribe members that came, I think it was a couple of years ago, you know, learning from them, like, seeing how they, like, look 7 generations down the line, like, for sustainability, like, for knowledge, like, you know, like, all the stuff that you have in your brain, you know, you passing that down to your kids or to even your students, like, that is powerful because that stays alive. All of the life lessons that you've learned, like, and you pass them down, like, you can open people's mind to, like, look, what you see in this little city, like, is not, like, there's a whole world out there, like, different cultures, different religions, everything. And if we could all come together and just let people live, like, it could be freaking amazing.
Absolutely. But, you know, what I want to do is better enforcement of the laws, regardless of what it is.
And better laws and policies.
And it's we need not the double standards that we have. I understand everything that you're saying about the river and everything else, don't get me wrong. We have some good activists, and then we got some paid organizations that think they're activists. If I'm looking at a person that's fighting for a cause, that's not being paid to fight for a cause, I'll get behind them. But if you're being paid to do something because of that, and then all of a sudden you're demanding and you're out there protesting and you're out doing this, you're getting paid to do that. You know what? Get off your high horse and, You know what I'm saying?
Don't do it for show.
Don't do it for show.
Yeah.
If there's people there, and that's what's going on with many of these parent activists that are going out there, they're being paid to do something that they shouldn't be doing. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, like you can come over and say, you know what, I'm for the yellow belly sapsucker that only lives here at Lake Casablanca, and we're going to preserve that yellow belly sapsucker. And all of a sudden, everybody's behind it. But if you're getting paid to go yell at the yellow belly sapsucker when you and telling people think that you're the only one there, and all of a sudden you have a colony of them, a flock of them in San Antonio that's bigger than they've ever had, and no, please, you know what I'm saying? People can see through that foolishness. You know, it's unfortunate, but it's you know, you can, the charades can be played for you little kids. You know what I'm saying? You know, how come a magician doesn't fool the little kid? Because the little kid's looking at everything that's going on. You know, I think I'm that little kid, but grew up. You know, I'm looking at everything. Oh yeah, understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Seen it all. And so tell me, we're going to be having some debates.
Yeah.
I would love for you to be there.
I'll be there.
And we're doing it a little bit different. There's going to be a little charge, but the reason we're doing it is I want to tell our guys that whatever's left over after the overhead's paid, at least we can set it up to as in a savings to buy a ring. I want to get these guys back into the competition. That's the last thing I want to set back again. We had a tremendous boxing team and a tremendous Sabat team in the early 2000s. I donated 2 of my rings to Sheriff Rick Flores for him to start the boxing program, which the Sheriff Martin has continued, and it's an awesome program, and I'm proud of that. But rings cost about 10 grand. We're not, so whatever is left over of these debates is going to go for like I told them, we're going to put it in the savings, and it's going to stay there.
That's good.
Okay, so we'd love to see you. It's going to be September 7th. It's going to be a sit-down dinner. It's going to be over at Royal Reception. So I'll put the flyer at the end for people to see. But anything else you'd like to say?
No, just thanks for the opportunity. Yeah.
Anytime if you want to come back out and say, you know what, I want to talk about this because I saw this over here, feel free anytime.
I appreciate it.
And you know, and anybody that has anything that's good for the community and wants to come out here and talk about it, come on over. I'm not going to go over here and chastise you or anything. I just want to, you know, I'm going to play the devil's advocate if need be for people to see both sides.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You understand?
Yeah.
And it's not about that because I respect everything that's going on, but I think we all see eye to eye. But where can they reach you for your campaign, or how can they get a hold of you?
On social media, everything's getting started still, but rebelesforlaredo.com is going to be the website. Rebeles for Laredo on any social media, so they'll be able to find me.
Okay, cool. Folks, we're running out of time. A great person here that's going to stand up for the community. She wrote down her name. Research every candidate you have. Go out there and vote. It's very important for you to vote. It's probably going to be one of the most important elections that we have if you really love this country and you wanted to go move forward in the way that we all grew up understanding it. But so go out there and research every single candidate that's out there. We have 5 new faces that are going to be placed in city council, probably 5 new ones, so that can change the dynamics of where the city is going or what's going to happen to the city in the next decade, because right now the way it's going is pretty bad.
Yeah.
And it's not going to go anywhere but the hole they dug is in. And I hate to say that because I love Laredo, and I'd rather say that for people who will start waking up, because people need to start waking up. So with that said, you all enjoy, be safe, stay safe, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Today, in America, more than 5.5 million men, women, and children train in a martial art regularly. Buitron Academy has been serving Laredo for over 30 years now. Our youth classes help kids build respect, self-control, discipline, and focus. This will teach them how to deal with bullies and peer pressure.
Hello, my name is Lee Sipel.
My name is Nathan.
This is my son Nathan. One of the reasons I joined Buitron Academy here and enrolled my son is the legitimacy of the school, the history. And I know he's young right now, he doesn't understand a lot of it, but I feel that later on when he grows up, he's going to have a lineage and a heritage from this school that he can be proud of, he can take anywhere and be proud of learning with a legit professor, legit masters, and other instructors as well. There's a lot of plus that comes with enrolling your son or your daughter in a school. Mainly discipline, respect, and I've been noticing his schoolwork, his grades have improved. The way he speaks to others, respect and some discipline, and he enjoys it. He enjoys it. He has fun when he comes, and sometimes he's disappointed when we're not able to bring him. But he likes the classes and he likes the school, and I'm hoping that in the future he'll receive himself as a good instructor or a good student later on.
Buitron Academy. Give us a call for your free evaluation at 956-401-4868. Check out the website at savat.biz and follow us on YouTube and Facebook. Come train at the best kept secret of Laredo.